Imagine waking up every single morning defeated before your feet even hit the floor. You are trapped inside a 300-pound frame. You are exhausted, you are broke, and you are terrified of your own reflection. David Goggins grew up in a house where fear lived in every room. Violence occurred regularly, before a child could even process it. Money was scarce, and that daily environment of threat and trauma normalized a life of constant anxiety. The world outside offered no relief. He struggled in the classroom, falling behind his peers, while enduring systemic racism that steadily chipped away at him. This friction built a deeply ingrained belief in a young boy's mind. He concluded that he was inherently inadequate. Years later, that belief dictated his reality. He worked long shifts spraying for cockroaches as a pest exterminator. His weight had climbed to nearly 300 pounds. A single flight of stairs left him breathless, and he had abandoned any ambition for the future.
Then, sitting in front of a television screen, he discovered a documentary about Navy SEALs. He watched a group of men who intentionally select the hardest possible path in life. He saw a standard of human existence that was the exact opposite of his own. The path he eventually took can be traced back to a quiet room and a look in the mirror. He sat alone and performed a brutal assessment of the misery he had willingly agreed to live in. The military wouldn't consider his application in his current physical state. To qualify, he faced an extreme constraint. He had to undo decades of physical neglect in a matter of months. He built an unyielding daily system. He trained through pre-dawn hours and long into the night. When his muscles locked up and exhaustion set in, he disregarded the signals and kept his body moving. This chart shows the velocity of that execution. Mapped against a 90-day timeline, we see a continuous, steep drop of over 100 pounds. It is a mathematical visualization of a human being refusing to stop. During those 90 days, he stopped negotiating with himself. He replaced a lifetime of excuses with a set of non-negotiable actions, effectively killing the version of himself that looked for a way out. Shedding 100 pounds served as an entry fee. In that friction, he discovered that the human mind usually hits the panic button and signals defeat hundreds of miles before the body actually reaches catastrophic failure. To override the urge to quit, he had to change how he processed suffering. He began treating extreme pain as biological data, information about his current state, rather than a command to stop moving. Earning that elite military title provided the empirical proof of concept for the mental architecture he had built in the dark. He pivoted away from the collective environment of the military into the isolation of ultra-endurance running. He wanted to see how far his body could go before his mind broke. Running distances of over 100 miles guarantees physical breakdown. Bleeding feet and failing kidneys served as the classroom to demonstrate that his mind held authority over his physical circumstances, no matter how much the body suffered.
When he eventually spoke publicly, his refusal to sugarcoat trauma resonated instantly. His blunt delivery spoke directly to millions of people navigating their own quiet struggles and failures. He separates the surge of temporary motivation from the architecture of discipline. He teaches that a feeling can get you started, but only a rigid system of habits can sustain the effort when the environment becomes hostile. For everyday life, the application requires action. You do not need to run 100 miles, but you do have to choose small, incremental daily victories over the comfort of your surroundings. Look at your own life. Identify the one difficult thing you have been actively avoiding and start there.